Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking you on a deep dive into a piece of military hardware that once created massive hype and was one of the most closely watched armored vehicles in the world, the Russian K-17 Bumerang wheeled armored personnel carrier. If you've been following military engineering news since around 2015, you probably remember its grand unveiling during the Victory Day parade in Red Square. At the time, people all over the world saw this as a major turning point, a vehicle that would completely revolutionize the Russian army and bring it into the modern era, totally erasing the old image of Soviet-era armor. But here we are, more than 10 years later with our latest 2026 updates, and the status of this highly anticipated vehicle is highly questionable. Is it truly a leap forward in futuristic engineering, or is it just a parade float meant to intimidate rivals on TV? Today, we're breaking it down from every angle. Before we get into why the Bumerang situation has reached this point, we need to step back and understand the design philosophy and past traumas behind it. For decades, stretching back to the Soviet era, the Russian military relied heavily on the BTR family of wheeled armored vehicles, like the BTR-70 and BTR-80. These vehicles were highly mobile, amphibious, and cheap to produce, but they had a fatal flaw. The engine was placed at the very rear of the hull. This design forced the infantry squad inside to crawl in and out through side doors located between the second and third axles. In a real combat scenario, opening those side doors was basically a death sentence, stepping right into a meat grinder. There was absolutely no frontal armor to protect them from enemy fire as they dismounted. That's exactly why we so often saw news footage of Russian troops riding on top of the vehicle's roof, rather than sitting inside absorbing a potential mine blast. Learning expensive and bloody lessons from conflicts in Afghanistan and Chechnya, Russia decided to completely overhaul its doctrine, giving birth to the K-17 Bumerang. This new design was essentially a total pivot, clearly adopting the same layout used by Western armored vehicles like the American Stryker or the German Boxer. Engineers moved the engine and transmission to the front right of the vehicle and transformed the rear into a large hydraulic ramp. This seemingly simple change meant infantry could now sprint in and out of the vehicle quickly and safely, using the entire bulk of the armored hull as a shield from frontline fire. This was the massive leap in ergonomics and tactical doctrine that the Russian military had been waiting decades for. When it comes to survivability and protection, the Bumerang was taken to a shockingly high level. The core structure utilizes specialized welded armor designed to accept modular ceramic applique armor on the outside. According to public data, this allows it to easily withstand small arms armor-piercing rounds and artillery shrapnel. Underneath, the hull features a V-shaped design to deflect the blast force from IEDs and landmines, which are the primary threats in modern asymmetric warfare. But the real game changer is that the hull was built from the ground up to integrate the Afghanit Active Protection System, or APS. This system uses radar to detect incoming anti-tank missiles and automatically fires interceptor munitions to destroy them before they hit the armor. This brings the survival rate of the 3 crew members and the 7 to 8 infantrymen inside to a level never before seen in Russian armored history. In terms of firepower, the K-17 Infantry Fighting Vehicle, or IFV, variant is equipped with an unmanned, remote-controlled turret called the Bumerang-BM, also widely known as the Epoch turret. This turret is an absolute masterpiece of lethal engineering. The main weapon is a 30mm 2A42 autocannon that can easily shred enemy armored personnel carriers or fortified positions. But its real trump card is the integrated Kornet-EM anti-tank guided missiles. These missiles have extreme range and massive armor penetration capabilities. That means even top-tier main battle tanks like the M1 Abrams or Leopard 2 could easily be turned into scrap metal if the Boomerang ambushes them from a distance. And that's not even counting the 7.62mm coaxial machine gun for dealing with standard infantry while conserving ammo. There's also an option to swap this out for the Baikal turret, featuring a massive 57mm autocannon. Basically, whatever the target looks like, this vehicle brings enough heat to handle it. As for battlefield mobility, the Boomerang rides on an 8x8 wheeled drivetrain with an independent suspension system, allowing it to glide over rough terrain and craters smoothly. It's powered by a turbocharged diesel engine pushing out 510 horsepower, allowing this 34-ton behemoth to hit top speeds of 100 kilometers per hour on paved roads, with an operational range of up to 800 kilometers on a single tank of gas. And keeping true to Russian military doctrine, this vehicle is fully amphibious. It comes equipped with dual rear propellers, allowing it to easily cross rivers and water obstacles, a crucial capability Russia maintains to ensure flexible advancement across complex terrains. To give you a clear picture of this vehicle's raw stats and global value, I've compiled its core specifications and estimated market price. Typically, armored vehicles in this tier run anywhere from $4 to $5 million a pop. Let's take a look at the breakdown. Looking at the specs, you can see that a $5 million price tag is no small change for a single-wheeled armored vehicle. When compared to the American Striker or the German Boxer, which sit in a very similar price bracket, the Boomerang is clearly trying to pack in every piece of tech possible to go toe-to-toe with the Western market. But the massive national-level problem hiding behind these impressive numbers comes down to cost efficiency and production pipelines. Western vehicles are mass-produced by the thousands, with shared logistics and parts across NATO countries. Russia, on the other hand, has to shoulder the entire R&D cost of the Boomerang alone. Furthermore, the electronics, sensors, and fire control systems are brand new technology that hasn't been heavily battle-tested yet. This makes traditional buyers of Russian arms hesitate. Do they drop a massive budget on unproven tech, or do they buy systems with guaranteed track records? And that brings us to the most crucial point of this video: the real-world situation as of our latest 2026 updates. No matter how incredible the specs and promotional videos look, the shocking truth that has many military enthusiasts shaking their heads is that to this day, the K-17 Bumerang has still not entered mass production. The latest intelligence from multiple sources indicates that Russia has only managed to produce these in the single digits, or low tens at best. These units are primarily used for military testing and getting polished up for the Red Square parades. The real question is, why did a platform designed to change the game end up nothing more than an untouchable display model? The answer is a domino effect of overlapping factors. The first and most devastating blow has been the severe technological sanctions imposed since the major conflict in Eastern Europe began. These sanctions have starved Russia of microchips and advanced electronics required to build the sensors, thermal optics, and fire control systems for the Epoch turret. Without these high-tech brains, the vehicle simply cannot be completed for combat. The second factor is chronic engine issues. Insider reports have leaked over the years, suggesting that the new diesel engine designed specifically for this vehicle suffers from overheating and reliability problems, especially during long drives or when carrying maximum armor weight. Going back to the drawing board to fix a foundational engine issue requires massive amounts of time and money, luxuries the Russian military simply does not have right now. The final factor, and the straw that broke the camel's back, is the harsh reality of a protracted war. Facing heavy daily armor losses, Russia realized it was a much smarter and more cost-effective move to restart the production lines for older, familiar vehicles like the BTR-82A and the tracked BMP-3. It makes no sense to bleed their budget dry trying to force the Boomerang into production when existing factories are ready, workers know the old tech, and parts are infinitely easier to source. Most importantly, they can pump them out much faster and at a fraction of the cost. When frontline commanders need replacement armor day by day, the military can't afford to wait for a hyper-advanced vehicle that's only produced a few units a month. Add to that the modern reality of cheap FPV drones becoming apex predators on the battlefield, where a $5 million vehicle can be destroyed just as easily as a cheap one, and you can see why the Boomerang project was effectively shelved. In conclusion, the K-17 Bumerang is a fascinating and valuable case study in military engineering. It's proof that designing the perfect weapon on paper doesn't guarantee real-world success. What good is the most technologically advanced armor if the producing nation can't build enough of them or can't afford them when push comes to shove? For now, the Boomerang is relegated to being a parade piece, showing off engineering ambitions at festivals. Whether it will ever actually see widespread combat or just quietly fade into history to make way for the old guard, only time will tell. What do you guys think of this incredibly aggressive-looking vehicle? Do you think Russia will find a way around the sanctions, fix the supply chain, and finally push this into mass production in the future? Or is it destined to be an expensive, forgotten legend? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into military hardware, make sure to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss our next breakdown. I'm Mix, and I'll catch you in the next one.